What if the most powerful military on the entire planet could be brought to its knees, not by missiles or torpedoes, but by a serious lack of snacks? Well, today we're breaking down an incredible story called The Price of Hunger, and it explores exactly that. It's a geopolitical crisis with a solution that, I promise you, you will never see coming.
I mean, it sounds like the setup to a really bad joke, right? But this is the absolute heart of the crisis in this story. Just try to picture it. A 100,000-ton warship, literally bristling with the most advanced fighter jets and missiles, completely and utterly defeated because the pantry is empty. So, with the top brass basically paralyzed and morale hitting rock bottom, a single, lone Marine comes up with a plan. And it's a plan that has absolutely nothing to do with jets or missiles. Nope, this is a strategy built on shame, a homemade fishing rod, and using the entire world as an audience. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off on what you could call an empty iron fortress, the USS Abraham Lincoln, a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, just stuck, stranded in the Persian Gulf. And the irony here is just so thick. I mean, on the one hand, you have the absolute pinnacle of military technology, right? A floating city that can project power anywhere in the world. But on the other hand, after a month-long Iranian blockade, it's really nothing more than a giant, hungry prison for the thousands of people on board.
You know, what really crushed their morale wasn't the enemy ships outside. It was the total silence from back home. The mail stopped coming through, and that meant no more care packages. No more beef jerky, no chocolate, no protein bars. All those little comforts that make a long deployment even remotely bearable were just gone. The fridges were empty, and so was their hope.
And this is where we meet our hero, Corporal Jack Miller. He's just staring down at his dinner plate, which has a single, sad, dried tortilla and a piece of mystery meat about the size of his thumb. And his question really puts this whole massive geopolitical crisis into perfect focus. It's not just about being hungry. It's about whether this mighty warship can even do its job anymore. So what does a starving Marine do when he's cornered? Well, he decides to fight back. Not with force, but with a totally different kind of weapon, misery.
Okay, so the core of Jack's totally brilliant and insane strategy comes down to one simple bet. Iran does not want a shooting war. What they really want is a propaganda victory. They would much, much rather film a pathetic, starving U.S. military than create a bunch of American martyrs. So his plan is almost laughably simple. Step 1, prove you are not a threat. Step 2, look as miserable and pathetic as you possibly can. And then, the most important part, step 3, make sure the enemy captures the whole sad show on camera for the world to see. Now, to really sell the part, he puts together the perfect costume, a bright orange life jacket and a red t-shirt, both totally against regulations, by the way, to be as visible as possible. And his main prop, a fishing rod he built himself out of a mop handle and some communications wire. He was ready for his close-up. And so, the plan is a go. Under the cover of darkness, Jack lowers this tiny boat and paddles away from the massive shadow of the carrier, just waiting for the enemy to give him a strange gift.
The Iranian response is immediate, but it's not hostile. First, a drone shows up, and that's Jack's cue. He starts his performance screaming at it to film him fishing for his dinner. A little while later, Iranian speedboats arrive, but they don't have guns pointed at them, they have cameras. They weren't acting like soldiers, they were acting like a film crew.
And then comes the weirdest moment of the whole story. One of the Iranian boats throws something at him. It's a bag of oranges and a package of dates. Jack is just stunned. He realizes they aren't helping him out of pity. They're giving him bait to make his pathetic little fishing show more believable for their propaganda film.
Jack's stunt works better than anyone could have imagined. The footage goes viral, of course, creating this global media circus. And all that spectacle provides the perfect cover for a secret back-channel deal, leading to what you might call a culinary ceasefire.
So, while the entire world was watching Jack's fishing trip on the news, a second drama was unfolding right nearby. China saw a huge opportunity. They went to the Americans and made them an offer. Let our tanker, the Rich Starry, pass through the Strait of Hormuz, and hey, we'll feed your sailors for you. And let me tell you, what a delivery it was. Under the cover of night, this Chinese tanker delivered not just supplies, but a full-on feast. We're talking Peking duck, authentic Sichuan spices, fresh vegetables, tons of noodles. They even delivered woks to cook it all in. And the Iranians, they just let it happen, probably excited for the next part of their propaganda film, U.S. Navy fed by China. The plan works. It's a total success. The blockade ends. The USS Abraham Lincoln finally sails to the U.S. base on Diego Garcia. The crew is safe, they're free, and they are finally, officially, being resupplied with American food.
So, it's day 40 of this whole crisis. They're on the solid ground of a naval base, and the crew is finally handed a real American-made meal ready to eat, an MRE. And the sailors are cheering. They are thrilled to finally get a taste of home. Well, everyone except for Corporal Jack Miller.
He takes a bite of his beef stroganoff, chews it for a second, and then delivers this story's incredible punchline. He says, "It lacks punch." And then he asks for doubanjiang, a spicy Chinese chili bean paste. The entire mess hall just goes silent.
And here it is, the final twist. The Iranian blockade couldn't break the U.S. Navy's will to fight, but a month of really, really good Chinese food completely reprogrammed their taste buds. The American MREs suddenly tasted totally bland. Jack was actually craving the Sichuan spices he'd had while he was in captivity.
So who really won here? Well, militarily, the United States got exactly what it wanted. The carrier was freed. But on a different, much more subtle battlefield, the battlefield of the dinner plate, they suffered a total and complete defeat.
And that's the question this amazing story leaves us with. It's such a clever and frankly hilarious look at modern conflict. It suggests that maybe the most effective long-term weapon isn't a hypersonic missile, but a really, really good bowl of mapo tofu. It makes you think about the true nature of soft power and what it really means to win.